Now this game reminds me of the Berserk anime, a mix of fantasy and medieval times, and nicely featured in these hand-drawn graphics. I really like this art style. And the battle system is something we don't see very often. Very much reminded me of Valkyria Profile in PS1. Vambrace Cold Soul. This game is created by Dev Espresso Games, a indie developer based in South Korea. They are the ones that brought you games like Coma and Coma 2, and was released in August 2019. I started playing this last week and this feels like a budget title. There are just a few cutscenes in the game and the dialogues are not voiced acted. But that's pretty much right, coming from a game that puts more emphasis on its game mechanics. Story. You're in a fantasy world filled with a mix of races such as elves, you talk to ghosts, dwarves, and even necromancers. Sounds like you're in Lord of the Rings. You play as Evilia Lyric on a quest to find answers after the recent death of your father. Following the clues left behind by him, you come to an ice mountain and you discovered a relic that was hidden. And that's where the story begins because the relic gets attached to you, and that relic is called Vambrace. With your father's demise, he left you a book, and pages in the book can be found scattered in the game. And by collecting enough pages, you would reveal the true contents in the book and the true story of the game. Moving on to gameplay. Let's go through the stats and skills for each character. Everyone has 5 stats and 3 skills. That's quite a few, so let me just give you a few examples. See how you avoided that trap? That's only with a high awareness skill. Another stat is called Overwatch. That determines how much health you regain when you set up camp in the battlefield. And here's the bad news. There's no way to level up your characters, which means there's no way to heighten the stat. So the game forces you to equip items, known as relics, to increase certain stats for your characters. Items can be crafted in this game, so let's talk a bit more about crafting. There are 2 main categories of items you can craft. You have your perishables such as your healing items, then you have your relics. Crafting requires materials, so these can be either collected or just buy them off merchants. The easiest way to start off is to just walk the battlefield and opening up some chests. I did this quite a bit as part of early grinding to make the game easier and more fun, of course. And remember what I said about the high awareness stat? You're gonna need that. You see how traps are in treasure chests as well. Recruitment. You are allowed to gather up to 3 teammates to form your team. And here is where you strategize. Because every character is special. Some are good at fighting, some are good at healing. And who goes into which slot in your team is also part of the strategy. Do you place defensive characters in front? I'll leave that to you. But just know that you can change these arrangements anytime in the game, even in battle. Now to explain the combat system. Notice how each character has one red and one yellow bar. The red is HP. The yellow one is called Vigor, just a fancy word for stamina. So if your Vigor reaches 0, your character dies as well. So now you have to take care of more than just health. What a pain. Going into battle. Each side has up to 4 slots and battle sequence is turn-based. You can plan ahead your moves thanks to the timeline shown at the bottom here. Triggering an action is easy. Just press either A, B or Y to make your characters execute. Melee attacks only reach up to 2 enemies, and ranged attacks are not limited. So without saying, you need a mix of crew to win battles under the shortest time possible. One tricky thing here is the second and third skill for each character. They have blue outlines compared to the first one. That means you will need enough flourish points to execute that skill. See that blue elvish looking bar beneath the floating heads? That's your flourish. Just consider it as your MP. You gain flourish points by blocking enemy attacks, and sometimes gain extra by landing a critical hit. Those blue pop-ups are examples of gaining extra flourish. The battle section of this game covers a large map, and you have to go into each small map until you reach the final one that has the boss inside. Luckily for us, you can open up the map screen and plan out your route, because the objective is simple, which is to reach the exit so that you can proceed further. Unless you're in the mood for gathering items, it's best to just pick the shortest route to reach the exit. You will sometimes reach rooms that do not have enemies, but instead you get a campsite. I would say always do camp because this is your one chance to replenish both your health and your vigor for free. Yeah, so pick the member with the high Overwatch skill and then you're set. That's pretty much all the stuff you need to know about the game. Let's get a conclusion. Overall, Vambrace feels like a rogue game. I feel they could do better with the story, but the usual cliches are there. Gameplay and combat are the areas I feel are above average. If you want to try some nice artwork and strategic combat, I think you can try this out. Once again, thanks for watching. Let me know if my reviews are too short or too long, so that I can do better next time. See you guys.